Hi, I'm Nuala and I work in Access and Outreach at Somerville College, which is part of the University of Oxford. I was also a student at Somerville until mid-2018, and today I'm going to give you a short virtual tour of Somerville with the knowledge that I have of the college from having been a student there and now working for the college. On the screen, you can see the entrance to Somerville from Woodstock Road. This is the main entrance, but as you can see, it doesn't look very grand. It's just a small archway leading into the college itself, but I can promise you it does get more exciting once you enter. So let's have a look inside. So these are the automatic doors once you go through that small archway, and then our senior tutor, Steve Rayner, who shot this video, is going to show you a little bit of what the college looks like inside. So he's walked through the automatic doors and is now in our first quad, which is called Derbyshire Quad. Derbyshire is the name of the building that surrounds it. And it's called a quad because it's a green space with 4 sides, and quad is the Latin word for 4, so not particularly imaginative. Derbyshire is one of the accommodation blocks for our students. So all of these windows that you can see are the windows of student bedrooms, except a couple down here next to the entrance, which are tutors' offices and the college nurse. Continuing through the college, you come to traffic quad. Again, unimaginatively named, but this is the small car park for staff members and visitors and students with disabilities who need to park their cars in college. It looks very empty in this clip because it was filmed after the lockdown for the coronavirus outbreak. Normally it's filled with cars. You can also see plenty of bikes stacked up. Most of the students choose to cycle around the city of Oxford. It's a very cycle-friendly city, and it makes it that bit easier, that bit quicker to get to your lectures in the morning. Walking through the second archway, if you turn right at this point, you enter our dining hall. This is our dining hall. It's where the students will eat their meals. As you can see, it's one of the grander parts of the college. And on the walls are quite a few portraits. It might be a little hard to tell in this image. All of those portraits are of women. There are absolutely no portraits of men on our walls. And that's because our college, Somerville, was founded in 1879 as one of the first women's colleges at Oxford, at a time when previously women had not been allowed to study at the University of Oxford. And so as a women's college, we had female principal to start off with, and that is a tradition we have continued to this day. We have never had a male principal, and we're the only college to never have had a male principal, and therefore the only college that doesn't have any portraits of men on its walls, which is something we're quite proud of. This is part of our atmosphere of inclusivity and diversity. We started including the excluded because women had previously been excluded, and we continue to pride ourselves on being tolerant and open and welcoming. Students get their food in the dining room through a canteen, which is just opposite the dining hall itself. The meals are catered for, and you can get breakfast, lunch, and dinner on Mondays to Fridays, and brunch at the weekends and dinner. That's because no student is going to get up for breakfast. Food is paid for on a pay-as-you-go system. You top up your access card that you also use to get into the college and into any of the buildings, and then you just tap that at the till to pay for the meal that you are about to eat, which means that students can choose which meals they eat, and if they don't want to eat in the dining hall for any of their meals, then they can cook in the kitchens, because there are kitchens in each of the student accommodation blocks. Once a week during term time, we also have guest nights, or formals as they're sometimes known, in which students can attend a 3-course sit-down meal, waiter service, white tablecloths, and they can dress up nicely for that. They're not required to wear gowns. We're quite a liberal college, so gowns aren't ever required except for your exams, unlike most other colleges, but people tend to dress smartly in order to have a nice, fancier meal with their friends, or they can invite family or other guests along too. Again, they can choose whether they attend this or not. Tickets are just bought separately. Coming back out of the dining room, you then walk into the main quad. This is significantly bigger than Derbyshire quad, as you will see. And one of the great things about Somerville, another inclusive and liberal thing about us, is that you're able to walk on the grass. At any time of year, anyone can walk on the grass, which is very different to the rules at most of the colleges. Looking around, you can see the chapel. That's a first year accommodation block in the corner, looking beautiful. And then all of these buildings are also accommodation blocks. On the right-hand side of the quad here, you can see the college library. And that's what I'm going to show you the inside of now. This is the inside of the college library. This is actually the top floor. There's also a ground floor that's the same size again, and a couple of extensions either side. This is probably the prettiest bit of the library. Our library is one of the biggest in Oxford, one of the biggest college libraries, because as we were founded as a women's college, women at that time were not allowed access to the main university library, which is called the Bodleian, which is in the centre of the city, because it was worried that they would distract the male scholars, which is of course nonsense, but it meant that the college had to build an excellent facility on site for the women to access all of the books they needed to, because they weren't able to access the central university one. Somerville has been a mixed college, has started admitting men in 1994. So we've been a mixed college for quite a while. We're now about 50-50 men and women in our student body. And women can go wherever they please. They can access the main university library now, but we still have one of the best college libraries on site, which means that students always have access to the books they need and don't ever have to buy one, because either the book that they need will be in the library already, or they can always make a request to our library staff to buy the book if it's not already here, and almost all of the time our library staff will be happy to purchase it for them. The library is open 24/7, so if students decide that they want to write an essay at 3 in the morning, they can. Directly opposite the library, across the quad, is our college chapel, which you briefly saw the outside of earlier. This is the interior of the chapel. It's pretty plain, as is evident. Unlike most college chapels, which are highly decorated with Christian imagery, Somerville Chapel was designed and built to be a space that everyone could use, no matter what religion they were or whether they didn't have a religion at all. It's intended to be a tranquil, safe space that you can use to pray or to meditate or simply to sit and contemplate. And it's also used for lots of college events. Every Sunday during term time, our excellent college choir sings a selection of songs, both secular and religious, and we invite a different speaker from different backgrounds, whether they believe in a certain religion or just have certain ethical or moral viewpoints. They come and give a short talk about an issue based on their point of view, based on their belief system. And that means that across the course of a term, or indeed a year, we hear from a range of different viewpoints, rather than just having Christian services. The Sunday services are optional. Students don't have to attend them if they don't want to, but there is roast dinner afterwards, which is quite an incentive. In the bottom of the beautiful grey concrete block, which you saw earlier next to the chapel, is the college bar. This is it. It's called the Terrace because outside is indeed a terrace where students can sit and drink cold drinks, study, socialise, sunbathe during the sunnier months. The college bar has quite a conservatory feel rather than being in a basement like most other Oxford colleges, which means that it's really nice and light and airy. And this is a social space. During the day, it functions as a cafe. Students can buy cheap paninis, hot drinks and snacks, and work together in a more relaxed environment than the library, or just hang out with each other. And at night, it becomes our bar, starts serving alcohol. There are also a few activities you can get involved in, like pool or watching TV. Often big rugby matches, big football matches and things like that will be played on the TVs and students will gather to watch. And finally, to finish off the tour, this is an image of a student bedroom, although they're never normally as neat and tidy as this when students are actually living in them. As you can see, they all have pretty much the same facilities: bed, desk, chair, wardrobe. Quite a few of the student bedrooms in various of our accommodation blocks have a sink in that cupboard. Some of them have a fireplace because they're in quite old buildings, some of them don't. Another chair, a bookshelf, a corkboard, a mirror. Some of them have a chest of drawers, something like that. The rooms do vary slightly in size and shape and decoration, but otherwise are all provided with the same furniture. A couple of our accommodation blocks are ensuite, the rest have shared bathrooms and shared kitchens. Well, all of them have shared kitchens. But students never really have to wait for a bathroom to become available because they all have different schedules and there are enough bathrooms that there are plenty to go around. All of our accommodation blocks cost the same, which you can see the prices of on our college website, except for the ensuite accommodation blocks, which cost 10% extra in rent. In first year, students are allocated a bedroom at random. I found it a really useful way to make friends in my first year. I lived in the beautiful concrete block that I showed you, Vaughan, in my first year, and I made all of my friends just by walking out into the corridor and sitting down and chatting with the people I saw there. In second year and beyond, students are put on a random ballot list, and depending on where they are within the list, that's when they get to choose their rooms. They choose it in the order that they're on the list. If they're quite low down one year, the ballot is reversed the next year, so they have more opportunity to choose earlier on. I hope you've enjoyed this quick virtual tour of Somerville. If you do have any questions about what you've seen or any other aspects of Somerville life or studying or living at Oxford, then you can email me at access, ACCESS, at some.ox.ac.uk, or you can visit our website for prospective applicants, which the URL is apply.some.ox.ac.uk, and there you'll find out loads more information about Somerville. And there's also a page where you can chat to me or some of my fellow staff members, or you can chat to some of our current students by starting a conversation online with them. Thanks very much for listening, and hopefully I'll see you at Somerville in person sometime soon.